Ever since she entered the world in a whirlwind of flashbulbs and controversy, Anna Nicole Smith's daughter has lived a life written in headlines long before she could even speak her own name. In the years after her mother's sudden passing at the height of tabloid frenzy, the world watched with bated breath, speculating about guardianship battles, custody disputes, and the fate of a child who became the focal point of a celebrity soap opera. But now, at 18 years old, Danielyn Burkhead steps forward to share her own truth, away from sensationalized sound bites and intrusive rumors. This is not a rehash of old scandals or recycled gossip. Instead, it's an intimate window into the daily reality of a girl who inherited both the magnetic glamour of a supermodel and the weight of an entire media circus. Growing up as the sole heir to Anna Nicole's legacy meant that normal milestones, first days of school, teenage milestones, simple family vacations, played out beneath the prying eyes of press helicopters and paparazzi lenses. Privacy was never on the guest list. Yet those who know Danielyn describe a girl whose core is rooted in resilience, curiosity, and determination to carve out an identity beyond famous parentage. Imagine attending prom while flashbulbs pop mere yards from the dance floor, or scrolling through social media, knowing every post will ignite speculation about your mother's life and death. Contrast that with your typical teenager worrying about biology homework or whether your date will ask you to slow dance. For Danielyn, the contrast between an ordinary adolescent experience and her extraordinary upbringing couldn't be more stark, and it's a tension she has navigated with surprising grace. Her earliest memories unfold in a Florida mansion that belonged to her mother, a home filled with over-the-top decor, mirrored walls, and celebrity guests dropping by at all hours. One minute, she'd be playing quietly in a corner while security guards cleared rooms of onlookers, and the next she'd hear muffled conversations about paternity tests or legal maneuvers in the next suite. Yet even in that environment, those closest to Danielyn recall a quiet, observant child, unafraid to approach strangers and ask pointed questions with wide-eyed sincerity. While some toddlers cling to comfort toys or babble baby talk, she insisted on matching her mother's famous red lipstick and mimicking runway poses, driven by an innate confidence that hinted at the star power flowing in her veins. Tragedy struck when she was just 5 months old, and the world's gaze shifted from Anna Nicole to her young daughter. Suddenly, guardianship became a global soap opera. Her mother's former attorney, her estranged billionaire father, and a parade of self-appointed caretakers all weighed in to claim custody. Judge after judge sifted through DNA tests, witness affidavits, and scandalous revelations to determine who could provide the best home for a baby who had done nothing more than grin at visitors. In the end, the victory went to her father, Larry Burkhead, a photojournalist with a gentle demeanor and a fierce commitment to protect her from tabloid vultures. Under his watchful eye, Danielyn began to grow up shielded from the worst excesses of fame. Weekends at the beach instead of red carpet premieres, bedtime stories instead of late-night talk shows. Despite that protective cocoon, freedoms were still limited. School pickups required decoy vehicles to throw off paparazzi. Friend invitations came with background checks. Birthday parties took place behind high walls and locked gates. Yet within that fortress of caution, her father and grandmother worked tirelessly to cultivate a sense of normalcy. She learned to ride a bicycle on quiet suburban streets, practiced piano scales in a sunlit living room, and joined community soccer teams where teammates saw only a shy girl with quick feet and a ready smile. Those moments, unrecorded and unseen by the world, became the real building blocks of her childhood. They formed the hidden counter-narrative to the tabloid storyline, the story of a family striving for ordinary joys amid extraordinary circumstances. As Danielyn approached her teenage years, the pull between public legacy and private identity intensified. Social media accounts, not under her own name, sprouted fan pages that tracked every hint of her growth. New hairstyles, Instagram captions, vacation snapshots. Conspiracy theories abounded. Some claimed she was a Hollywood puppet managed by shadowy handlers. Others insisted she'd disappear at 18 and re-emerge as a chart-topping singer or major influencer. All the while, she felt caught between two worlds. One where her every move was logged by algorithms and aggregated by gossip sites, and another where she simply wanted to text friends, crush on a boy in her class, and binge-watch reality TV like any other teenager. Now, at 18, she has finally summoned the courage to speak up. Emerging from the protective shell built around her, she sits down for her first in-depth interview. No lawyers present, no cameras in her face, just her, unfiltered, ready to dispel myths and claim ownership of her own narrative. She describes how her mornings begin not with paparazzi knocking, but with regular routine. Alarm clock at 6:30, oatmeal with fresh fruit, a quick jog with her rescue dog before catching the school bus. She shares how she devoured novels by Toni Morrison and Harper Lee, finding solace in stories completely unconnected to her own surreal upbringing. She laughs recounting late-night impromptu kitchen dance parties with her cousins, and how she secretly builds collages of travel dreams. Paris in spring, the beaches of Bali, a quiet lodge in Montana. Yet she doesn't shy away from the shadows. She reflects on the loneliness of growing up without a mother's guiding hand, a maternal bond severed months after her birth, and how that absence shaped her search for belonging. She admits there were nights she scrolled through memorials and fan tributes online, tears welling as she realized viewers often felt they knew her mother better than she did. Those emotional fissures led to therapy sessions that taught her to channel grief into creativity, painting abstract canvases where splashes of color represented moments of joy, streaks of black symbolized heartbreak. Those paintings, once hidden beneath her bed, now line the walls of her bedroom gallery, colorful testimony to a young woman forging meaning from inherited pain. Despite the gravity of her story, there's a lighter side to who she is becoming. She has an infectious sense of humor, a penchant for practical jokes that leaves her inner circle in stitches. She mentors younger students in debate club, where her calm presence and sharp wit turn tough topics into lively discussions. She started a blog chronicling her love for vintage fashion, posting pictures of thrift store finds styled with modern flair. In every private endeavor, she balances the echoes of legacy with her own bold strokes, determined to stand as both heir and innovator. The transition from tabloid prop to self-assured 18-year-old hasn't been seamless. But as she speaks about her hopes, college aspirations, dreams of writing a novel, traveling the world, it becomes clear this is someone ready to write her own headline. Gone are the days when outside voices dictated her story. Now, she shapes it herself, blending past and present into a future defined by choice rather than circumstance. After years of living under protective shadows, Danielyn now steps forward, sharing her meticulously curated blend of normal teenage life and inherited spotlight. Each dawn begins with the same quiet meditation she adopted 2 years ago. She kneels on a yoga mat in her sunlit apartment, closing her eyes and inhaling deeply before reciting her personal mantra, "I am more than headlines." It's a small act of defiance against the legacy that followed her from cradle to high school graduation. Minutes later, she pads across worn hardwood floors to her kitchenette, where she sips a matcha latte her father perfected over long weekends in their Florida home. The steam curls into the morning light, and for a moment, she can pretend the world is as mundane as any other teenager's. But it isn't. By breakfast, press tweets and Instagram fan accounts are already speculating about her college plans. Is she bound for New York? Stanford? Or will she surprise everyone and enroll at a small liberal arts college nestled in the mountains? In truth, she applied to a dozen schools across 4 continents, hungry for experiences that would stretch her perspective beyond celebrity culture. At orientation, she learned her roommate was unaware of her famous birthright until a mutual friend spilled the beans. The shock gave way to curiosity, then acceptance. They parted that first night hugging, and the press-worthy moment never occurred. Instead, the next morning's dorm chats focused on Greek mythology, not gossip columns. In lecture halls, she conquers subjects that contrast sharply with her tabloid past. A biology class on marine ecosystems first hooked her during a beach cleanup volunteer project. There she witnessed turtles tangled in plastic nets and realized that not all stories need a screaming headline to matter. Her environmental science professor jokes that her notes look like comic book panels, bold headings, color-coded diagrams, and doodles of sea turtles wearing graduation caps. When she presents her research on coral bleaching, the room listens with genuine interest, unaware that they're watching someone who once dominated supermarket tabloids. Creative writing workshops reveal another side of her evolution. She pens flash fiction pieces inspired by memory fragments, shadows of camera flashes, the hush that sweeps large rooms whenever she entered, and the soft lull of lullabies her grandmother sang during late-night custody hearings. Her professors praise her vivid use of sensory detail to capture tension, and she beams when classmates say they felt goosebumps reading her work. Only a few know the backstory fueling her words, and she likes it that way. She's no longer the tabloid headline. She's the author of her own short stories, weaving trauma into art. Beyond academics, she's an active voice in campus mental health advocacy. Twice a week, she logs into a secure video conference with students who, like her younger self, wrestle with anxiety and identity loss. She listens to their concerns, panic attacks before exams, fear of disappointing parents, the loneliness of feeling set apart. When it's her turn to speak, she describes her therapy journey. The hour-long sessions with a psychologist who taught her to map emotions on a scale of 1 to 10, to spot triggers before they spiral, and to anchor herself with grounding exercises. She shares how painting abstract canvases, fuchsia swirls for joy, deep indigos for grief, once felt foolish, yet became her secret lifeline. Students say her honesty makes a difference, and her message spreads through whispered hallways faster than any celebrity rumor. On weekends, she trades her environmental gear for vintage finds. She's built a modest following on her blog, Retro Reclaimed, where she curates thrift store treasures. From 1960s shift dresses to 1980s leather jackets, she styles them with modern flair and shoots moody Polaroids in abandoned train stations. Her aesthetic blends nostalgia and futurism, an olive green skirt paired with neon sneakers, mirroring her own life's tension between past and potential. Brands have quietly reached out, seeking collaborations, but she's cautious. She wants authenticity, not a paycheck. One email from a fast fashion giant promised 6 figures for a single Instagram post. She considered it, then declined. "I want my wardrobe to echo who I am, not a marketing spreadsheet," she told her manager. Family remains her compass. Her father continues to check in by text every morning. Coffee, bus is on time, dinner plans tonight. On Sundays, they video chat over her grandmother's homemade cornbread, once a staple in the crowded mansion where Anna Nicole's friends and lawyers once congregated. Now the conversation revolves around SAT scores, recipes, and whether she'll attend the summer retreat at a lakeside camp her mother once visited as a child. Evenings with her dad are a return to true north, board games, family photo albums, and low-key movie nights in sweatpants. There's no velvet rope, no bodyguards, only a father and daughter reclaiming ordinary moments. Still, the outside world presses in. Documentary crews approach each summer with offers to film a year in her life. Book agents whisper proposals for ghostwritten memoirs. Social media trolls troll her dorm corridor doors. Yet each time she's poised to break, she remembers her mantra and sets clear boundaries. No cameras in her dorm, no memoir until she's 30, no public statements without careful edits. She even drafted a personal press code. Posts must uplift, never exploit. Interviews must be one-on-one, not under pressure. Earnings must fund her own scholarships for girls who grew up in tumult. She's become her own gatekeeper. Her philanthropic vision has taken shape in a nonprofit she founded last year, the Beyond Project, dedicated to supporting creative self-expression among children who lost parents early in life. Through art workshops, writing camps, and outdoor expeditions, the organization aims to transform pain into purpose. She recently secured a miniature grant and hosted the inaugural camp in a lakeside retreat, where teenagers, many of them children of celebrities or trauma survivors, gathered to share stories, paint murals, and hike without phones. At the final bonfire, she stood before them. No glass mansion behind, no press entourage, just a circle of young faces lit by firelight. She told them, "Your story matters even if it isn't on the cover of a magazine." Many wept, some nodded, all believed her. Between academics, activism, and art, she maintains a social life that feels both surreal and grounding. She's been linked to a college lacrosse player. Rumors ignited when they were seen sharing a pizza, but she dismisses the speculation with good humor. "I like to eat," she said in a campus interview. "And he, apparently, likes my cheese pull." Those offhand comments, free of sting or scandal, become trending tweets. She corrects them, then lets them fade into memes. As graduation approaches, the stakes intensify. Universities invite her to speak at commencements. Publishers await her debut novel. Magazines pitch cover stories. Yet she takes it all in stride, resisting the gravitational pull of sensationalism. She's drafted a plan: gap year to backpack Asia, a fellowship in environmental journalism, and then graduate school for creative writing. She wants to earn her accolades through her own adventures, not inherited fame. Her story now pivots on one question: will she embrace the spotlight her mother once claimed, or will she forge a path illuminated by her own choices? At 18, she's poised at that crossroads, equipped with the quiet confidence of someone who's already survived the worst headline imaginable. Her life is no longer defined by paparazzi shadows, but by morning meditations, sweat-scented yoga mats, paint-splattered canvases, and the laughter of friends who know her for who she is, beyond tabloid lore. Her graduation dawns with a quiet resolve, sunbeams slanting through the oaks and illuminating a campus that never sleeps. At 20 minutes past 8, she steps into her gown, a deep teal color chosen as a nod to her mother's favorite hue, and pauses to trace the embroidery at the neckline. It's not a costume, she tells herself. It's a banner marking her own achievements. She steadies her breath, remembering the mantra she's whispered every morning for years: I am more than headlines. That simple phrase has become her compass, guiding her through lecture halls and late-night study sessions. She lines up with fellow graduates, cap tassels swaying in a gentle breeze, each of them clutching a small piece of the future. Spectators fill the wooden benches: classmates, professors, family friends, and curious onlookers who once treated her as a curiosity. They murmur when she appears, but she sees only familiar faces: her roommate who learned her secret on the first day and never flinched, the biology lab partner who cracked jokes about plankton samples, and the debate coach who praised her for turning trauma into articulate arguments. None of them see the flashes of cameras tucked behind trees. None of them remember the tabloid biographies or the legal battles she never asked for. In this moment, she is simply Danielyn Burkhead, college graduate, environmental advocate, aspiring writer. Her father awaits in the front row, eyes glistening with pride. He unfolds the program and reads her name aloud when the dean calls it out, tone resonant and full of emotion. As she walks across the stage, she extends her hand to shake, then accepts her diploma with a confident smile that surprises even her. Cheers ripple across the lawn, not for a Hollywood heir, but for a peer who earned her credentials through late-night lab reports and community service hours. That applause, sincere and unstaged, is the soundtrack of her triumph. Later, at the reception tent, she drifts from conversation to conversation, savoring the glow of achievement. She recounts her senior thesis, an analytical study on microplastic pollution in coastal ecosystems, and watches listeners lean in, not because of who her mother was, but because of the data she presents, the charts she draws, and the condensation on her glass of lemonade. Topics swirl around her: graduate school options, job offers, writing fellowships. One professor encourages her to apply for a Fulbright. A family friend offers a position at a local nonprofit. Each opportunity lands on her like a feather, delicate and buoyant. By mid-afternoon, she slips away to a quieter courtyard beneath a magnolia tree, where she unfolds a creased invitation to speak at a major environmental conference next spring. Her heart thumps. This is bigger than any tabloid interview. Here, she can influence policy debates, present solutions, and inspire scientists young and old. She pictures herself standing at a podium, wind whipping through her hair, as she unveils a new initiative to ban single-use plastics. The thought quickens her pulse and steadies her resolve in equal measure. That evening, she and her closest friends convene at a small lakeside cottage rented for the weekend. No press are invited. The address bubble-line group chat has strict privacy settings. They cook pasta, laugh over board games, and recount favorite campus memories: late-night coffee runs, impromptu beach cleanups, whispered study group gossip. She feels unburdened, free to be silly, to tease and be teased. She marvels how ordinary it all feels, how ordinary she has become to these friends who never once asked if she was Anna Nicole Smith's daughter. Her nonprofit, the Beyond Project, launches its next phase at that lakeside gathering when she stands beneath string lights and reads aloud a letter she wrote to incoming campers. Her voice trembles, then finds its strength as she pledges to expand workshops, secure more funding, and partner with mental health professionals to offer free counseling. Her friends applaud, some dabbing at their eyes. They're witnessing not a child lost in celebrity shadows, but a leader who channels inherited pain into collective purpose. Before sunrise the next morning, she journals by lantern light. She writes about the surreal power of choice and the paradox of freedom bred from constraint. She muses on the contrast framing her life: the glare of paparazzi versus the hush of dawn yoga, the clamor of tabloid allegations versus the quiet joy of painting abstract canvases, the weight of a famous name versus the liberation of charting her own course. She outlines goals for the coming year: a short story collection, a travelogue chronicling environmental activism in Southeast Asia, and a new scholarship endowment for children who've lost parents to illness or scandal. Back home, she reintegrates into daily routines that feel grounding: morning jogs along the beach, cappuccinos at the corner cafe, text threads with her grandmother that run late into the night. She reviews grant applications for the Beyond Project, edits magazine articles on coastal restoration, and Skypes with a documentary filmmaker about a potential feature on her life. She keeps it all contained within boundaries she's drawn herself. No late-night network appearances, no sensational headlines, no betrayals of the quiet confidence she's cultivated. As this chapter closes, she prepares to travel overseas for her gap year, a solo backpacking adventure through Thailand's national parks and New Zealand's reserves. She plans to blog each step, not as a celebrity spectacle, but as a young woman bearing witness to the planet's fragile beauty. Readers will find GPS coordinates and packing tips alongside reflections on loss, resilience, and family legacy. She's crafting this itinerary deliberately, weaving her story of inherited glamour into a broader narrative of global stewardship. Her final message to viewers is both simple and profound: authenticity matters more than adoration. She urges anyone who's ever felt trapped by external expectations to reclaim their narrative, whether that story takes place on a suburban street, a university campus, or the far reaches of a coral reef. Let your life be your message, she says in her closing shot, standing on a windswept clifftop as dawn breaks. Write your own headlines through actions, not claims. In the end, the girl who once inherited tabloid covers now owns her own story. At 18, she has stepped out of the glare and into her own light, guided by purpose, grounded in truth, and ready to illuminate the world on her own terms.